everybody. How are you? It's Miss Trish here, and I'm here with Erie Playtime, and I'm so excited to see you today. Well, we haven't seen each other for a week, but it sure was a beautiful weekend, wasn't it? Did anybody get outside and enjoy the weather? Oh, it was so nice. Reminds me of getting outside again and running around and getting some fresh air. I hope you all had a chance to do that. Before we begin our story today, let's get our good friend out. Now remember, last week we didn't do the whistle, so I think it's the perfect time to pull out Mr. Whistle and say hello. Are you ready? Here we go. Do you know what to do? Follow the whistle with me. It's going to tell us what our body should do. Ready? Oh, now I don't know if Max is out there, but he and I know that the whistle never stays up when it's supposed to. All right, let's try it one more time. Here we go. Ready? Oh, I think I'm up. Will you bounce along with me? Ready? Just follow what it's doing. Ready? How about a march? Can you turn that into a skip? That is wonderful. Let's make a big rainbow. We need lots of rainbows, don't we? Use your arm way up high. Here we go. I feel like being a turtle right now. Can you stick yourself inside the turtle shell? One more time. All right, everybody hop on the seesaw. Here we go. That was great. You did that really well. How about if it's time to put on our hula hoop? Put it around your waist. Ready? Can you stick it around your neck? Mrs. Yates' hair is getting in the way here. Let's try it on our arm. Ready? Can you balance a hula hoop on your arm and your leg? How about, can you flap your arms? Or can you move around really quickly like a bumblebee? We might see a bumblebee today, you never know. Oh, one more. Let's try and load up the rocket. Ready? Everybody go down low. Count with me. Launch it backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. That was really good. Put your hands in the air like you just don't care. And sit on down. Perfect. All right. Well, you know, before we can start anything, I think it's really important that we sing our playtime song. Do you remember the motions? Playtime, everybody. Sing a song, dance and run, and don't forget the book. Here we go. Sing along with me at home. I know you know the words. Are you ready? Here we go. It's time for playtime, playtime, everyone. It's time to read a book and have some fun. It's time to sing a song and dance and run. It's time for playtime, everyone. Clap it up. Playtime, playtime, everyone. It's time to read a book and have some fun. It's time to sing a song and dance and run. It's time for playtime, everyone. Get up out of your chair. Here we go. Take a train, take a boat, over here we go, take a plane, motorcycle, rum, 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 slow. Playtime, playtime, everyone, it's time to read a book and have some fun. It's time to sing a song and dance and run. It's time for playtime, everyone. Playtime, playtime. you all the way through the camera. Good job. You know those words so well. Well, today we are going to read a story about a very interesting character. Now, I have a picture that I'd like to show you. And this picture is kind of interesting because this is a statue of an animal. And this animal is going to be our character in the story today. Do you recognize what this is? Let's take a look at it for a minute. First of all, look at his big head. And it looks like he has lots of muscles here in the front, doesn't it? And he has two big horns. Do you know what this animal is? It's a bull. Whew. I have to tell you, this statue is much bigger than it looks. If you saw, I had a picture on Erie Playhouse site before we got on today on our live feed. You'll have to check it out because I'm standing by the bull, and you'll see how tall that bull really is. So, we are going to talk about the bull for a minute. Now, who knows about a bull? Look at the picture of the bull for a second, and I want you to think about it because we're going to use words that describe what we think a bull is like. Now, before we begin, let's remind ourselves. First of all, he's really big, isn't he? And I don't see a smiler on his face, do you? And I see these really big horns, and I think they're kind of pointy there. So I'm going to pull some things out of my basket, and then you help me decide. Are they things that are like the bull or not? So I'm going to start off, with this one. What is this, everybody? Do you know what this is? Maybe someone in your house uses it to pound nails. This is called a hammer. Now, you tell me, is a hammer like a bull? Do you think a hammer is like a bull? Do you think that this bull is fierce and can pound his hooves into the ground? You're right. I think you're absolutely right. I do think that our bull reminds me a little bit of a hammer. Let me reach over here. I saw this over here in my... It's a tissue. We use it to wipe our noses in these allergy weather. And I want to know, do you think, is it tissue like a bull? Do you think this soft thing that we use to wipe our noses and our runny eyes, do you think it's like a bull? No, it's soft and delicate. Look, when it falls to the ground, it goes poof. It doesn't make a loud bang, does it? Oh, let's look at something else. Oh, how about this? I want you to notice how I'm pulling these out of the basket, because when you're holding scissors, you have to be really careful. But I do want to show you this part right here. The point. Does that remind you? What? Oh, it reminds you of the horns that are sharp and pointy. You're right. I wonder what a bull uses his horns for. And what else do I have in here? Let's see. Oh, I have a little powder puff. Very soft. Does that remind you of the bull? He looks very strong and muscular. If you were to touch him, would he be soft like this, or would he feel hard? I think he's not soft. And what about, oh my gosh, this is so heavy. Look at this. A rock. What do you think? Does that remind you of the bull? I think so too. I mean, so far we have hammer, rock, pointy scissors. What about this over here? I saw this back here. What about this beautiful flower? Does a flower remind you of the bull? Doesn't remind me of a bull at all. I think you're right. Flower doesn't feel like a bull. And I have one more thing to show you. What about this? I'm going to put my hand inside. What is this? It's a bee. Now, is a bee like a bull? Well, actually, if you listen to bee and bull, they begin with the same letter. And if you think about it, what does a bee do? Bzzz. Have you ever been stung by a bee? Oh, I bet that would hurt. And I think maybe a bull could hurt someone too. So I guess they're kind of alike and maybe a little bit different. But today, the bee is going to play a very important part in our story. Oh, you know what? Before we read our story, let's do a little buzzy bee together. Do you hear that music? Oh, I hear some buzzy bee music. What does that make you feel like? Can you get out your buzzy bee? Oh, can you make... Oh. Can you move your bee around? How about around a circle? Put your bee up high. Down low, picking up the pollen, buzzing around. Oh, let's go up. Buzz. Oh, all over the place. Move around, turn in a circle. Buzz, 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 buzz. Busy bee, busy bee. Oh, he's getting everywhere, isn't he? Busy, busy, busy. He's coming close. Are you ready? Oh, he's going back to his spot. We're going to see you later, okay? Oh, here he goes, back in his spot. Say bye, busy bee. Oh, and he's all gone. So today's story is going to be about a bull and maybe a bee. Are you ready for our story to begin? All right, let me get up my glasses. Whoops. Here we go. My camera gal is coming in extra close because these pictures are so great. We don't want you to miss one thing today. Today we're going to be reading the story of Ferdinand. Ferdinand the bull. And I want you to notice something when I turn the page. Wait a minute. Where's all the color? All I see is black and white. Is this book going to be any good if it's just black and white? Here we'll see. Once upon a time in Spain. It's far, far away from here. There was a little bull, and his name was Ferdinand. All the other little bulls he lived with would run and jump and butt their heads together for them having fun playing. Think Ferdinand likes to do that? But not Ferdinand. He liked to just sit quietly and smell the flowers. He had a favorite spot out in the pasture under a cork tree. It was his favorite tree, and he would sit in the shade all day and smell the flowers. Looks pretty happy, doesn't he? Can you see the other bulls playing in the background? Sometimes his mother, who was a cow, would worry about him. She was afraid he would be lonesome all by himself. "Why don't you run and play with the other little bulls and skip and butt your head?" she would say. But Ferdinand would shake his head. "I like it better here, where I can just sit quietly and smell the flowers." His mother saw that he was not lonesome, and because she was an understanding mother, even though she was a cow, she let him just sit there and be happy. As the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew until he was very big and very strong. Look at him, everybody. He looks like that picture of the bull that we were looking at the beginning. So many muscles. Look at those horns. Oh, here's his growth chart. 1 week, 3 months, 1 year, 2 years. You grow that much in 2 years? All the other bulls who had grown up with him in the same pasture would fight each other all day. They would butt each other and stick each other with their horns. What they wanted most of all was to be picked to fight at the bullfights in Madrid. Look at this. There's like a sign here, and you can see this is the bullfighter and the bull, and they're like, oh, I wish that would be me. I wish it would be me. But not Ferdinand. He still liked to just sit quietly under the cork tree and smell the flowers. Well, one day, 5 men came in very funny hats to pick the biggest, fastest, roughest bull to fight in the bullfights in Madrid. Look at those funny hats. I bet they think they look very, very nice in those hats. All the other bulls ran around snorting and butting and leaping and jumping, so the men would think that they were very strong and fierce and pick them. Look at them trying so hard. Pick me! I'm the best! Ferdinand knew that they wouldn't pick him, and he didn't care. So he went out to his favorite cork tree to sit down. Look at this picture. Do you see what I see? I see a bee, and look, I see a tail. That must mean this must be Ferdinand's behind. I wonder what's going to happen. He didn't look where he was sitting, and instead of sitting on the nice cool grass in the shade, he sat on a bumblebee. Well, if you were a bumblebee and a bull sat on you, what would you do? What would you do? What would you do? Would you sting him? That's just what the bee did. Uh-oh. Look at Ferdinand's eyes. Oh my gosh. Does he look like he's been stung, or he's got, it's like, oh my gosh. Wow, did it hurt? Ferdinand jumped up with a snort. He's running around puffing and snorting, butting and pawing the ground as if he were crazy. And the 5 men saw him, and they all shouted with joy. It was the largest and fiercest bull of all, just the one for the bullfights in Madrid. So they took him away for the bullfight day in a cart. What a day it was! Flags were flying, bands were playing, and all the lovely ladies had flowers in their hair. They had a parade into the bull ring. First came the bandoleros, with long, sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick in the bull and make him mad. Next came the picadores, who rode skinny horses, and they had long spears to stick in the bull and make him madder. Then came the matador, the proudest of all. He thought he was very handsome, and he bowed to the ladies,
He had a red cape and a sword and was supposed to stick the bull last of all. Yes! Oh. Then came the bull. And you know who that was, don't you? Ferdinand. They called him Ferdinand the Fierce, and all the banderillas were afraid of him, and the picadores were afraid of him, and the matador was scared stiff. Ferdinand ran to the middle of the ring, and everyone shouted and clapped because they thought he was going to fight fiercely, and butt and snort and stick his horns all around. But not Ferdinand. When he got to the middle of the ring, he saw the flowers in the lovely lady's hair, and he just sat down and quietly smelled. He wouldn't fight and be fierce no matter what they said. He just sat and smelled, and the banderilleros were mad, and the picadores were madder, and the matador was so mad he cried. He just couldn't show off his cape and sword. So they had to take Ferdinand home. And for all I know, he is still sitting there under his favorite cork tree, smelling the flowers, just quietly. He is very happy. The end. How much fun was that story? I mean, we didn't need any color, did we? The black and white pictures were just perfect, weren't they? I want you to think about the story for a minute. Were all the bulls in this story the same? Was Ferdinand like all the other bulls? Or was there something different? When we started our story today, do you remember? We looked at this picture and we decided by what we did with our eyes was judge what we thought the bull was going to be like. We saw big, sharp horns. We saw very strong muscles. We saw big hooves, and we thought that must be something that is mean and sharp and pointy and strong and probably very, very fierce. But Ferdinand wasn't like that at all, was he? We looked at the outside of something and decided what they were on the inside. Now that's a really interesting thing, because sometimes in our lives things happen and we judge what something looks like on the outside before we even get to know the inside. Have you ever had something for dinner and mom says, try it, you'll like it? And you look at it and you go, that doesn't look good to me. But you take a bite and you discover that it's actually quite delicious. Don't judge the outside by what's on the inside. Sometimes we look at someone and we say, they're wearing glasses and they're wearing a very ugly outfit. They look like a nerd and I don't want to be their friend. But you know what? On the inside, they might be really fun to get to know. That's what we call judging a book by its cover. Looking at the outside, but not getting to know what's on the inside. And that's really important to know what's on the inside, because who knows? You might find all kinds of wonderful things. Now, I think I'm going to test you to see how well we can do. Shall I? Did you happen to notice when you joined us today that I had, I'm going to have to reach back, way back here. I had two presents that I'm going to open today. Let's look at our presents. Well, I have this one that's so pretty with a gold ribbon on it. It's got beautiful flowers. And then I have this present. It's still a present, even though it's in a crinkly old brown bag. I wonder if we were judging this present by the outside and judging this present by the outside, which one would you want to open up? Would you want to open the pretty one with the ribbon? Let's go ahead and see what's inside, shall we? Pull the ribbon. 1, 2. Rip off. Oh, it's in a fancy box too. Open the paper. Oh, now I have to open this, and inside is some tissue paper. Oh. Look what was inside that box. A roll of toilet paper. Okay, now I know to some, that is the best gift of all right now, isn't it? But let's see what's inside the bag. Would you look inside? It's Ferdinand. Cute little Ferdinand. Did you expect there to be something really great inside this bag? Maybe even greater than what was in the bag that was all wrapped with a fancy wrapping? Well, then you learned a lesson from today's story. You can't judge a book by its cover. You've got to look inside. What's on the outside doesn't mean it's a special ride. Shall we sing a song together? This is called You Can't Judge a Book by Its Cover. Are you ready? I think I'm going to get a little instrument here. I rub-a-dub. This smells like a rub-a-dub kind of story, and I'm going to pull over mine. Oh, you can't judge a book by its cover. No, you have to look inside. The car of a nicer color doesn't mean a better ride. It's not what's on the outside, but what's inside and counts. Got to look at someone's heart to know what they're about. Tell me, how can you tell? How can you tell just by a passing glance? How can you make up your mind without giving them a chance? How can you tell just what a person's like? Unless you get to know them, your opinion may not be right. Oh, you can't judge a book by cover. No, you have to look inside. A car of a nicer color doesn't mean a better ride. It's not what's on the outside, but what's inside that counts. Got to look at someone's heart to know what they're about. So every now and then you're bound to meet somebody new who may seem a bit unusual and different than you. They may be putting up a front or wearing a disguise, but if you start to be their friend, you'll find they're very nice. Oh, you can't judge a book by its cover. No, you have to look inside. The car of a nicer color doesn't mean a better ride. It's not what's on the outside, but what's inside that counts. You got to look at someone's heart to know what they're about. It's not what's on the outside, but what's inside that counts. Listen, boys and girls, you've got to look at someone's heart to know what they're about. You've got to look at someone's heart to know what they're about. You really do. You have to look inside the cover, and then you'll find out the truth. That's very important, to look inside. Don't always judge something by the way they look outside. Sometimes it's really worth opening the cover and taking a peek. Well, I hope you had a good time today. We will be back in 2 days with Miss Maeve, and she'll have another story with Playtime right here at the Erie Playhouse Facebook page. And we have one more thing to do. Do you remember what it is? Here we go. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. We'll see you in in 2 days. In 2 days, we'll be back with a new story. So glad you joined us today. Remember, don't judge a book by its cover. You've got to look inside. Bye-bye.